So exciting. We finally made it. Okay, so this is Girls Guide to Get Greatness. My name is Rebecca Ship. I've got an amazing special guest for you today. Angel Santiago is on my show. I'm so pumped.
So,
And actually, Angel is busting the cherry because today is the first time we've had an actual man on my show. Now, it's June. Father's Day is this month. And I thought, this will be the perfect time to bring guys on the show, start bringing men on the show because there's a lot of good guys out there doing great things. And I just want to share your message with the world, Angel. So welcome to the show.
thank you so much. And it's funny you say that you're having a guy on the show because, part of what a lot of my clients are female, and I even have clients that don't feel comfortable with a man, but they feel comfortable with me because part of what I do is I'm very connected to my divine feminine. And so I even had a session with a shaman that told me that that's my gift to the world is the divine feminine. So
Oh,
it's
I
how
love
do you
that.
have this masculine expression, right? But then yet have that nurturing, that divine feminine come through the physical expression of man. And for the past 2 years, I've been on this journey of strengthening and even asserting and learning what is it to be a man and balancing all that and creating an integration of both masculine and feminine, So it's
Yes,
been good.
absolutely. That is beautiful. I love that. I think it's powerful too, because,
Yeah,
I think we really need that in today's society, especially because, we're all running rampant, trying to figure things out and just not getting really what we want out of life. And we wonder why. And it's because we haven't taken the time, like you said, to really understand who we are in the world and what we have to offer and are both, getting in touch with who we are deeper on a deeper level, not just on a surface level. So I think it's amazing that you're doing that, Angel, and having the courage to actually share that with not just women out there, but with men as well. So hopefully
exactly.
inspiring other men to be able to say, "Hey guys, just because I'm a man doesn't mean we have to fall into the status quo. We have to act a certain way or be a certain way. We can still be strong and manly, but still also tap into that feminine energy and still compassion and all these other great things, tenderness and gentleness. It all makes
Exactly.
you even stronger,
That's it.
right?"
And it makes you whole. One of the things that I've learned over the years since I started my spiritual journey is that particularly in relationships, and it doesn't have to be romantic ones. It could be with your boss, it could be with your children, it could be with a friend, any kind of relationship. The only way you're going to learn about the parts of you that you need to work on is by seeing that in the other person. But let's talk about romantic relationships because those are the most intimate ones, or they should be
Right.
the most intimate ones. When you have a partner in your life, that person may have parts that are dormant within you fully awaken, or at least they're stronger at those. And so you're going to be able to see those and you're going to be able to kind of incorporate that into your life. And if you work on those qualities, you become, again, more whole. You realize your wholeness, and vice versa. She may see some parts within you that are awakened within you, but are dormant within her. And if she chooses to kind of take that from you and learn that from you and accept that gift that you're bringing, she herself will become, more aware of her wholeness and will become stronger and more complete. We don't complete each other; we complement each other. So it's kind of
Yeah.
like how it goes. That in my last relationship, there were some parts she was very strong. So clearly there was something within me that needed to learn some of that strength, needed to learn some of that assertiveness, needed to learn some of that, what does it really mean to be a man? Because the masculine was very strong within her. And so
Mm,
the feminine was very strong within me. And so that's kind of how we do this, and that's
yeah.
how we kind of grow and we learn.
So, Angel, is that what you do as a transformational coach there? I know you're in San Antonio and you've got your kid, you're doing amazing things as a dad and as a transformational coach. So is that what you do with couples? Do you work with couples or individuals, or what's more your thing?
I work with individuals because at the end of the day, even if it's a couple, it's still an individual.
Oh
You
yeah,
see what I'm
yeah.
saying? Because
You
like,
work on their own independent strength,
right.
and yeah, I
And,
gotcha.
and I work with a company called Freedom Practice Coaching, and we help doctors of all kind to become, successful entrepreneurs. And the first thing that I teach the clients, because I'm one of the first calls, one of the first coaching sessions that they have is with me, is I teach them that in order to master your business, you have to be mastering yourself first. And that entails a lot of things. I mean, if you think about it, any kind of problem, right, that you may have in your business, it reflects an area of your life in your personal life. And a lot of times we want to think that there's a personal life and a professional life, but that's not true. It's just life, and it's just you. You're the one showing up. So if, for example, you're having this challenge at work, well, how is that showing up in your daily life? You know, I've had clients that are having issues getting people to move forward into their packages, into their health programs, into their wellness programs, and they tell me, well, you know, they're all in through the process, and then when they get to the part where we got to talk about money, the prospect says,
Ah,
oh yeah, no, not right now. And then I'll tell the client, okay, well, how are you doing that in your personal life? And then they think about it and they're like, oh man, just last month I had an opportunity to invest in a personal development program for myself, and I was all in. And when you get to the money, I was like, yeah, but not right now. So you're gonna get feedback from everything
right.
and everyone around you about how you're showing up in the world. And if you look at it as like, oh, well, it's just them, then you never get the lesson. You never get the growth. You know, you
That
have to
makes
look at
total
yourself.
sense. I had to do that too. I had to think about it because my coach was telling me, the only way that I'm going to be able to have people buy what I want, in order to sell someone, I've got to be sold on me first. I've got to be completely 100% in, sold on my services, sold on how awesome I am, sold in
Yeah.
my, total belief in who I am and how I can really help these people. And it actually worked because once I got them on the phone and I came, 100%, I was able to be 100% sold on me and my services, then they were in. There was no question.
You have to be your first client.
Yes.
Always, 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 always. Yeah.
Absolutely. That is so awesome. Okay, so what are some of the things that you can do or share with the audience that can actually help them, go further in their business or go further in their career or even in their intimate relationships? Any kind of like top tips from Angel that you want to share?
I would say, and this is something that I just recently did, is look at what you're afraid of. Look at your fears. You know, you could have a list of 5 fears, for example. What is the whale of your fear? What is that thing that you're like, that makes you want to hold on, right? Like, oh my God, I don't think I could do that. You know, like what is that well of a fear? Because fear is fear, period. And it's there for a reason. And if you think about our personal growth journey, whether that's through business, it's going to manifest itself in many different ways: business, relationships, money, like career, whatever
Right.
that may be. But your personal growth journey, it's personal to you. And it's often called the hero's journey or the
Ah,
warrior's way. But it's
yes,
called,
I've heard of this. Yes.
right? So it's called a hero's journey because, like, what is the number one thing a hero needs in order to be a hero? What do you think that is?
A quest, some like
Right?
triumph.
Right. But in that quest, you need a villain.
Oh, yeah.
Without the villain, there's really no hero.
So is the villain the fear?
The villain could be anything. It could be a person. It could be a situation. It could be fear.
Ah,
It could be a worry. It could be anything that causes you to kind of like, I'm stuck here. Like it's something that may push you down. It's something that
oh.
may break you
So
down.
it's something you need to learn to overcome. So that's
Yeah,
it. Got it.
and that could be a person. That could be, especially if you find yourself repeating a pattern in your
Right.
life, and whatever that is, whether that's money, whether that's romantic relationships, whether that's whatever that may be. There's a villain there. There's something there that you have to overcome. You need something to break you down so that you can have a breakthrough, right? And so I
Yes.
would say, what is that thing that I'm most afraid of? And am I willing to stand up to it? Right?
Mm.
So does that mean that I'm going to break through it in the first time that I meet that challenge or that I face my villain? No, you may have to face it a couple of times. You may have to get up and get in the ring and get knocked out. Okay,
Yeah.
so then you go back to training and you come back again and you fight that villain again, and you may get knocked out, but this time not as bad. It's keep rising, keep showing up, keep facing that fear. Eventually, you will grow into the person that is ready to overcome it.
I love that, Angel. Actually, that reminds me of a book I wrote several years ago, but it's called Three Giants. It was my journey on how to overcome my giants in my life, which was, my fears or, the things that I struggled with the most, which were at that time finances and my health and fitness. And so in my book, in my imagination, I saw my giants as like real big giants. And I'm this tiny
Yeah.
little person. And I stood up to my giant and I looked up and I said, you know what? You can do your worst because I'm gonna do mine. And I'm here and I'll be here and fight every day. And when I did that, every day I came back, I got better and better and more tactical and was
Yeah.
able to, my giant started shrinking in the book, it started shrinking to where I was able to manage it and pin it down and win. And so I did that throughout the story. And I came out as a victor at the end, I was victorious. And it was pretty interesting because I took the time, like you said, to come back every day and to beat it down just a little bit more. So sometimes we think that we have to go out and just conquer it once and for all, but sometimes it takes time.
Yeah. And that's exactly how I see it. I'm glad you brought it up because I see it as giants. There's giants that you have to defeat, right? And they come in all sizes, and some giants are taller than others,
Yes, yes.
And in my case, I had to look at a few of those giants, and when I was able, you have to have the willingness to do it. Like you were saying, you kept showing up,
Yeah,
even if you
that's
get
right.
beat down. But I was willing to look at my biggest giant. Again, my biggest fear, right? If you look at your biggest fear and you conquer that one, the other ones just fall out because
Yes.
the other ones are so little in comparison to that big one, to that well of a fear, to that big giant of yours, right? And
Yeah.
the other part of it is what's going to help your journey is how are you looking at those obstacles? How are you looking at those challenges? How are you looking at those downs of your journey, right? A lot of times, we go into roller coaster rides, and without the downs, there's really no roller coaster. There's really no fun, right? Imagine if the roller coaster
Mm,
just goes up and it stays up the whole time. There's no
right.
feel, there's no excitement. Look about movies. When we look at our movies, we want our main characters to go through a period of down and then overcome that and rise up. Look at our sports.
True.
Those people that are sports fans, when the Spurs here in San Antonio are falling behind by 30 points and they come back and they beat their team in their fourth quarter. Those are the most exciting games. But if our Spurs are blowing out the other team the whole entire game, you kind of like it's boring. The game's not fun. So in
Right.
our entertainment, we look for the ups and downs, and we want the ups and downs. But when it comes to our personal lives, we don't want anything to do with that. And
That is,
and
that is so true.
I think we're just looking at obstacles in the wrong way. We're looking at challenges in the wrong way. We're seeing them as enemies. We're seeing it as a sign that I'm not good enough or I'm failing. When in reality, these obstacles, these challenges are actually helping you. They're your friends. They're your comrade in arms. They're helping you along the way to fight the battle, to be better. Some people choose to look at the obstacles as enemies and they want to avoid them and they want to postpone them. But they don't realize that when they do that, they're actually throwing away their future because you have to meet that, you know?
Right. This is great. Actually, Angel, this reminds me of something I heard with Tony Robbins saying that we have the six basic human needs everyone does on the planet. And two of those basic needs are actually certainty and uncertainty, which kind of like you would think that would counteract each other. But he says with the uncertainty that we need is like he was saying, the roller coaster is the variety of life, the spice of life, to keep it interesting and exciting. We actually need that. And so that's one reason a lot of relationships kind of, go stagnant, complacent because they don't have the variety, they don't have the excitement in that roller
Mhm.
coaster. And so and I look forward to being in a relationship soon. So I'm like really thinking about relationships. How am I going to show up, right? So I'm studying this subject and I'm like, okay, so how can I, keep it fresh and interesting, because you got to think about these things, right? And
Yeah.
it's funny how it's okay to think about these things in our business and with our kiddos and everything else, but when it comes to relationships we kind of like we forget about that with our spouse, our loved one, our partner right beside us.
Yeah, and that all has to do with your model for relationships. We all have a model. It was modeled to us by the people that were in our
Oh
lives, right?
yeah.
We saw our grandparents being in a relationship. We saw our parents being in a relationship. We saw our uncles being in a relationship. So what was modeled to you, but more particularly within your home, right? What was modeled to you? However your mom treated your dad, however your dad treated your mom, chances are that's part of the model that you have for relationships. And a lot of times, what was modeled to us wasn't necessarily the healthiest thing. And
Right.
here we go to recreate this relationship based on those models, and we don't understand why we're in conflict with our relationship, but we're not realizing that it's not the relationship. It's the model. And so you may have to really take a look at, like you said, we have to look at those things. We have to, what is the model that I want to create? And is my old model not healthy? Then I may need to
Yeah.
change it.
That's
And
what I was
that
going to ask
applies
you
to
next.
everything.
Like, how can we change can we change the model? How can we change
Oh,
it? Yeah.
most
So,
definitely. You can definitely change the model. You could say, well, first it takes like let me read to you this little quote. I want to read
yes,
this little quote for you
definitely.
because it's kind of helpful, right? And
Okay.
it talks about life as a river, right? And it says that life is like a river. You can't see too far ahead. You don't know where the river will bend or where it will turn. You don't really know where the river will go at all. So don't try to control where the river is going to go. Instead, control yourself. Know yourself. Know what you stand for. Know where you're going. And as long as you know about that and you're clear about that, it doesn't really matter where the river takes you because you're always right where you're meant to be. So if you know who you are, if you're clear about who you want to become and where you're going, then you can check your models against that. Is this model in alignment with who I am or who I'm becoming? Does it help me become that person? Then if it's not, then you need to create a new model, whether that's about money, whether
Right.
that's about career, whether it's about goal setting, action taking, relationship, whatever that is, you can create a new model that's more in alignment with who you want to be. And it sounds simple, but it's not. There's many layers to it. But I would say the first step is being clear about who you are and where you're going.
I love that. Yeah, and actually, me as an entrepreneur going out on my own into the world is that's actually something I'm looking at as well, Angel. So I'm glad you mentioned that because I'm still trying. Like I know who I am, and I love being, where I am in the world, and I'm on that river right now. I feel like I'm on that river, and sometimes I get caught up in like, oh gosh, what's ahead? But if I stay strong in the moment now and do my best and show up and bring my best, that's all I need to do. I don't have to worry about that because no matter where I go, then I'm going to be okay. So you're
And
right.
then
I am practicing those things, and I hope everyone else out there who's watching and listening can do the same thing and not be so overwhelmed because I know sometimes it can be overwhelming if we think about all these things. Okay, well, this is how I want to run my business. This is how I want to be organized and run my teams, or this is how I want to run my household. We have so many, like you said, layers, different areas in our lives, and if we try to do so much, like everything at once, I think that's going to be way too overwhelming. But working on one thing at a time and building on that, I think is the key.
and having faith and trust. Having faith and trust. One thing that I have beyond any kind of doubt, like I have zero doubts about it, is that everything is happening in my life for my highest good.
Oh,
Period. All the
that's
time.
good.
I have complete faith and trust. So no matter how challenging the ride becomes, no matter how difficult the challenge that I find myself in, I know that on the other side, I am going to be better for it.
Yes.
And a lot of times people want to, I know there's just a lot of people that believe in God or they have some kind of spiritual belief in something greater than themselves and they believe in it. But when these difficult things happen, then they lose faith and trust and they're like, why is this happening? Right. And the truth is, whether you believe in God or not, or whatever that relationship is for you, God can only send your way only the experiences that are going to be the most beneficial for your growth.
Right.
Always, 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 always. And if you think about it, look at all the hero movies that are out there. Who wins in the end? Always the heroes. The heroes always stand on top. So at the end of the day, whatever your hero's journey is, whatever villain you're facing, you just gotta know that you do need to go through the obstacle. You do need to go through the challenge. You may need to be beat down for a little while,
Yes.
but at the end of the day, you're gonna come out on top.
This is so good. Um, this is amazing, Angel. This is exactly what I think I needed to hear today. I think a lot of people out there probably need to hear the same thing. But we are going to come out on top no matter what. So we have to
Yeah.
continuously trust. I love that message. Angel, this is amazing. How can people find you? I know you're in San Antonio. I know you're rocking it out as a transformational coach. But if someone needed you right now in their lives, and how can they find you?
I would say just message me on Facebook, send me a message.
Okay.
You can also find me on YouTube. My hashtag is Life Coach Angel. So in any social media, if you put in the hashtag Life Coach Angel, you're gonna find me.
Life Coach
Whether that's on
Angel.
YouTube or that's on Instagram or that's on Facebook, you're gonna find me.
And I love the fact that your name is is Angel, and then you kind of almost act as an angel, almost like, as a transformational coach. That's what you do, because I consider myself to be a coach as well. Transformational success coach. There's so many different names, but being able to help people, that's
Mhm.
what angels do. They help people, right? And so that's what you do in your life, and I think it's
Yes.
amazing.
And
This has been so much fun.
I think there's something to be said about, there's some people that believe, because I encountered this. I encountered this gentleman who wanted to go into coaching, but he thought that his life needed to be perfect and he needed to be completely healed in order to help other people. And there is a
Oh,
thing called the wounded healer. And that's what I consider myself. I consider myself
oh,
a
I
wounded
see.
healer. As
Okay.
I heal, I help others heal, and vice versa. As I help others heal, I heal. You don't
Oh,
know
I
how many
love that.
times when I'm with a client in a call or in person, and I actually gain something from their struggle, from their journey that helps me along my journey, and then along my journey with other people. So if you're thinking that, I want to help people, I feel called to this mission, you don't have to wait to have everything set up. You can start now. Just share a conversation. You can start living your purpose as at the way you show up on a daily basis when you're dealing with a friend, when you're dealing with a customer service rep at a restaurant, at a coffee shop, with a client, with an enemy, with whoever. Like the way you show up and how you deal on your day to day, are you
Yeah.
embodying your purpose in that moment? It should be all the time, all the time.
Yes, I love that. It's because I think I was doing some sort of training on becoming a coach. I forget it was training because I do like a million different trainings, but I think it was Rich Litvin. He is a coach himself, and he was saying that coaching basically, what the kind of coaching I do is focusing on the future. We focus on how we transform our futures, but there's also, like you were saying, the coaching that happens to focus on healing wounds of the past. So there's different types of coaches out there, and I think it's amazing that you're able to learn from other people and vice versa. So it's almost like this tandem journey you guys are on, right? That
It
you're
really is.
that
It
you guys
really
are
is.
both healing from. You're both getting better and stronger. And I love the fact that you are, you don't have to be perfect. Come as you are, and that's what it's about, is being honest, being vulnerable, opening yourself up to change and transformation, and then that's right there is going to make you
I
stronger,
agree.
wiser, better.
And it's, again, I go back to the willingness. It's having a willingness that, we create these personas for ourselves, right? We call them our ego, right? And it's a persona, right? And if there's anything that your ego doesn't like, it's a crack or a little, or the chance that my persona may crumble, right? But in order
Mm,
to be born again, your persona has to crumble, so that it can
yeah,
be reborn healthier, softer, kinder, more compassionate. It has to crumble. You have to be willing to let go of who you think you've been or who you think you are up to this point in order to realize who you are. And that is key. If you're not willing to let go of that, it's
right.
going to be very hard for you to really make changes in your life.
Yeah, I agree with you, Angel. I'm so right there right now, because even though I feel very accomplished in what I've done in my lifetime so far on this planet, I still feel like I've got a long ways to go, and and that's okay. And I'm
That is
telling
okay.
myself it's okay, Rebecca. Still continue to go out there, have courage to share your message, to inspire others, and along the way you're gonna fall down, but it's
Hmm.
okay. Just get up, just brush yourself off. You're gonna be fine. Put a little band-aid on yourself. That's kind of, I have to talk to myself like this, right? And I'm like, okay, it's you're going to be fine. I think a good coach actually learns to be a good coach for herself, him or
Yeah.
herself.
Hmm.
So in my mind, I have to be on my own coach. So sometimes I'm like, okay, it's okay, Rebecca, you're going to be fine. Just go on out, keep doing what you're doing, and change the world as you know it. In the way you can, the best way you can. So
That's it. And then, like you said, you are going to fall down, and it's part of the process. You are in a process of becoming. Like, you never really arrive. That's
right,
you don't really arrive. It's a process of becoming. And this experience, you may gain this one little tool or this one little resource or this one little quality, and in this other experience, you may learn this other one. So little by it's really like a video game. Like, if anybody play video games, you go through these different levels and these different challenges, and you may find yourself dying in the same place, in the same level over and over again, until you realize, man, I'm doing something wrong here. Like, what do I need to do differently? Because what I'm doing is not working. And so, and you may get frustrated and throw the remote and not play that game for a while. And I guarantee you, when you come back to play the game, if you didn't train, if you didn't learn a new skill, you're going to die in the same level in the same place again. You got
I
to
love
figure
it.
out how to overcome that little obstacle, face it head on so that you can move on to the next level. And guess what? A whole new set of challenges are going to open up for you because it never
Yeah.
ends.
You're right. I love the whole game analogy because I used to be a big time gamer, and so I totally get that reference.
Mhm.
But I love that how you're exactly right. I gotta keep going to that same level. If I'm stuck on that same level, that's stuck at that same giant,
Yeah,
and then we come back and we just don't give up and we have to think. We actually start using our minds. How can I overcome this? Is there a trick to this I need to learn? Or we can Google the cheat codes. And what is that? Is that actually Googling you? Get a coach in your corner to help you get through your goals faster. I
that's
always say
true.
further, faster, right? I get
That's
excited
very
about
true.
this.
I just think we have to remove the stigma that if you have a therapist, if you have a coach, if you have someone like that in your corner,
Yeah,
that there's something wrong with you. And the truth is, there's something wrong with all of us. Let's
right.
just remove the freaking stigma about it. If you're willing to go to a chiropractor to get an adjustment, or to a acupuncturist to get acupuncture, to a dentist to get a cleaning, to a doctor to get a physical, man, go to the freaking therapist. Go hire a coach. Go get
Yes.
someone who can help you and get your mind and your habits and your beliefs right. There's nothing wrong with that.
Oh my
You
gosh.
know,
I
we
would
wait
actually
so long.
Angel, I would actually encourage it because I have to say the world is in chaos. It's always a level of chaos that we live in. And to be honest with you, if we were actually taught at a young age on how to deal with our minds, thoughts, rejection, hurts, pains, if we were taught at a young age, maybe in school, maybe in our household, maybe both, that we would not have half as many craziness things that
I
happen,
agree.
with kids shooting up schools and all this insanity because we were never taught about how to use this,
Mm-hmm.
right? Our minds, our emotions, it's all tied. And so I believe that's why I believe in coaching so desperately, is because it helped me change my life. And now I get to use it to help change others. So it's an awakening, right? We help build an awareness, increase the awareness of people and open up their eyes to something new and fantastic. And that thrills me. That excites me. And if I
Exactly.
can actually show other people what I've seen and got to experience, how freaking awesome is that? Because then we're giving people hope, and not just hope, but power to actually transform their lives, right? They don't have to be stuck in a circumstance or struggle, because that was me as a young kid, from the poor hood back in East Nashville, Tennessee. That's all I knew. So that's the only story I knew.
Mhm.
But it was up to me to be like, okay, think about something else. There's got to be something else out there. When I started asking those questions and started surrounding myself with different people and different things, I started saying, okay, I don't have to be stuck here. I can actually get something more. Now, how do I do that?
Exactly.
So I think it's amazing. So what you're doing is fantastic. I love it, Angel. I love having you on my show. I'm so excited.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for joining me today. And everybody who's listening and watching, I'm going to have all of his contact information, all of Angel's contact information in the show notes. So be sure to reach out to Angel if you guys have any questions about going to the next level in your life or just transforming something. If you're stuck in your circumstance or stuck in your struggle, reach out to Angel. Angel, thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Appreciate you.
You're amazing. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you.